Welcome to the T3 Fit Scoliosis podcast. On today's episode, we have Damain Bailey. He is on Instagram, and on Instagram, it's Daily Bailey Fitness. Damian, I'm sorry. Oh my God, I apologize.
It's okay.
And he is the owner of Conquer Fitness, correct?
Yes, Damian Bailey Fitness Conquer. Yeah.
Okay. Damian, I'd like to welcome you to the show.
Thank you.
And I would like for you to tell us your story about scoliosis and the time that you were diagnosed. And I know that you've had surgery and how it has changed and impacted your life in all aspects. So share with us.
Okay, so real briefly, I have an identical twin brother.
Okay.
And one doctor's visit, our pediatric doctor noticed something with our backs. I'll never forget it. And he said, he told my mom, you have to check these guys out to a specialist because their back is crooked.
Okay. How old
and my
were
brother
you?
and I looked at each other like, what the hell? We were about 12 or 13 years old.
Okay. And you both had the curves.
Yes, we both had the curves.
Interesting.
So we went to a specialist, and sure enough, we were diagnosed with severe scoliosis. So bad to the point where when we started high school, we had to wear a back brace.
Okay.
A plastic back brace. And now growing up in the 90s in New York City, and you're a teenager, this is not cool to do. And so what we would do is we would wear the back brace underneath our clothes. So it would look like this. We didn't wear it out.
Yeah.
Thinking back in hindsight, I should have wore it out. I would have probably had more sympathy. But
yeah,
it was so uncomfortable. We were supposed to wear it 24 hours. We didn't really wear it like we were supposed to.
Okay.
And I believe they switched x-rays. So the brace that he was supposed to wear, I was supposed to wear. Yeah, it was a whole big screw up.
Wow.
So from 14 through age 17, the doctor was like, look, if you don't get this done, we need an infusion. If we don't get this done, by the time we're like 40 years old, we're going to be like hunchback. And I was already walking like this.
Okay.
I was already walking sideways.
Okay.
So yeah, we got the operation.
Do you remember your curves when you were diagnosed and when you had the surgery? Okay.
Yes. I don't remember, like the L5 or the L. I don't remember that.
Right.
I just remember looking at that X-ray and looked like an S.
Yeah.
It was bad on both parts.
Okay.
So we had to we went to the operation at the same time. Like I had it one day and then he had it the next day, and we were in the same hospital.
Okay. And
I believe that operation. Huh?
Sorry. Go ahead.
I believe that operation took. Was this 7 hours?
Okay.
I don't recall, but it was long. However, we healed them quickly than the norm.
Okay.
How
long did it take you to heal?
I would say a good 3 months.
Okay.
And they said the average was 6.
Okay.
And we did it right after we graduated high school. So I remember it was June, and I remember by mid-July and August, I was already running and playing basketball.
And had you been active previously with prior to the surgery?
Well, typical kid.
Okay.
Typical, playing basketball.
Okay.
Just being a typical kid.
Okay.
And we got that done. And then when that happened, I believe my brother started working out first.
Okay.
He started working out first. I didn't work out till I was 21.
Okay. And both of you had the surgeries in New York City?
Westchester.
Okay.
Yes.
And
because we live in the Bronx.
Okay. And it took you about 3 months to recover.
I believe so, yeah.
And he had started working out. And how old were you guys when you had the surgery?
17 going on 18.
Okay.
And that was tough. Like laying face down pretty much all day on the bed was tough, because you had the dressing and then you had the staples in the back. So you really couldn't do much. Yeah.
So they had you, so basically like you were just face down the whole time, and then if you would get up to do physical therapy or anything, then you would get up out of the bed. And then,
Yes.
and did you have any physical therapy prior to surgery? Did anybody talk to you guys about that?
Not that I recall,
Okay.
because I believe, like, I always think and thinking in hindsight that if maybe Pilates or yoga was introduced to us early on, I'm not saying it would cure anything, but it would probably help, because it did reduce our flexibility
Okay.
having the rod. But they just told my mom, look, this is what's needed, and my mom agreed to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And how old, I'm going to ask, how old are you now? How long has it been since the
I'm
surgery?
45. I'm
Okay.
45.
And how has the surgery impacted life since, from the time from having it up until now? Like what are the empowerments that you've brought into your life? What are the challenges that you've faced? You know, the limitations are the limitations. We can't bend in certain
Right.
directions. We can't bend
Right.
laterally. We, you know, you touch your
Right.
toes, it's like bending like a wall,
Yes.
you know.
Well, of course, the flexibility is a big issue. And prior to that, I wasn't stretching to begin with.
Okay.
So it just made it tighter.
Okay.
Again, I started working out when I was 21. So I didn't emphasize mobility
Okay.
like I should have.
Okay.
Because, you know, we didn't have all of this. When I started at 21, we didn't have social media to teach us all of this. We had the only thing I had was these muscle magazines, like Men's Fitness, those muscle magazines, the steroid looking dude. So I just copied off of that. But as through years and years of learning and teaching, I realized, okay, mobility is the main factor of all of this. So that's the one thing that I wish I did. My brother is a martial artist.
Okay.
So he's been doing it for almost 20 years. So that kind of helped his flexibility and his mobility.
Okay.
Now, how does it hinder me? It didn't really bother me. I never really had a problem with it until I moved to Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Because you drive so much, you're driving so much that you're in this locked position, this locked sagittal position, that everything tightens up.
Yeah.
And ever since I moved here 7 years ago, I've been tight. Like I just had surgery on my hip.
Okay.
So I'm in quarantine right now. I'm recovering. I'm day 8 from it. And that's another issue. My brother had the same thing. And now, getting back on that, the doctor told my brother when we first were introduced to the rod that arthritis was going to come in.
Okay.
Arthritis, and we're going to need a new hip. They told him that. They didn't tell me that.
Okay.
For some reason, because his spine was more severe.
Okay.
That he said by age 40, he's going to need a hip replacement. Sure enough, that's what happened. Yes, he had a hip replacement. Now it was my turn. I just got my hip replacement.
Yeah. Okay.
So they said that the scoliosis kind of had a hindrance, kind of played with it, but it's also due to the fact that we're so athletic that you know, we use our hips a lot, and you know, it got to the point where I was literally bone on bone. So that's why I got this replacement. But besides the metal detectors going off in the airports,
you have that too?
Yes, it has. It has. I think I never had an issue with it. I actually use it as my battle scar.
Okay.
I'm actually proud of it. I'm actually proud of the fact that I have this. And I tell clients who had it or had scoliosis, I'm like, don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed of that. I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed of this at all.
Were you ashamed when you were diagnosed? Or were you embarrassed?
Yes, I was embarrassed because I felt the brace would cure it.
Okay.
And when they said it didn't, I think I was more embarrassed for my mom.
Okay.
Because you know, you as a parent, you want your kids to be healthy and so forth. And I felt bad. I felt I let her down.
Okay.
That was just me feeling as a kid.
Yeah.
And I was kind of ashamed of that. So, but I wasn't scared of going under the knife. I was just like, okay, if this is gonna make everything all right,
Yeah.
and it's going to make my mom feel fine, then let's do it.
And did you guys know anybody else that had scoliosis?
Yes. Our
Okay.
cousin from our father's side
Okay.
had it. She had to wear a brace.
Okay.
But I don't know if she had the operation. I think we were the
Okay.
only ones that had the operation.
So you guys were already a little bit familiar with what was going on. So it wasn't like
I didn't know until we were diagnosed that they said, "Oh yeah, you know your cousin had the same thing too." I said, "Oh, I didn't
okay.
know that." So
Okay.
it was one of those things.
Okay. And now you're weightlifting and I see you on Instagram and you're like
Yes. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and you said that you know that you wish that you had incorporated more mobility. Are you
Yes.
doing that now? And do you find it are you doing it now, and do you find it challenging? And with the fact that your brother did it previously, how is it different between you two?
His workouts are different from mine. He started off bodybuilding, but
Okay.
he doesn't do that anymore. He
Okay.
does pretty much what you do.
Okay.
Like
Does he
he's
swing a
getting
mace?
into the pole. Yeah, he's getting into the pole
Oh,
stuff.
awesome. Okay.
Yeah, he actually just posted something about that. He does a lot of, I wouldn't say calisthenics. I don't know what the hell he does because he's bigger than me.
Okay.
He's like 200 something pounds,
Okay.
but he teaches every day. So he's teaching kickboxing and
Okay.
whatever.
Okay. Okay.
So maybe that's his workout.
Okay.
He's
It
not
could.
like me where I'm in the gym like 6 days a week,
Yeah.
five,
Okay.
6 days a week.
Okay.
Now, pertaining to what I do and with mobility and weights, I tend, and I train everybody like this. I work out in 3 planes of motion:
Okay.
the sagittal, frontal,
Mm-hmm.
transverse,
Mm-hmm.
and each workout has to incorporate those.
Okay.
Whereas with the bodybuilders and with the average gym goer, the average plane of motion is sagittal. So
Right.
I tend to do all 3
Okay.
in every setting.
Okay.
Before I had this hip situation going on, I was gearing towards my program more athletic,
Okay.
whereas it was incorporating more kettlebells. It was incorporating more impact,
Mm-hmm.
high impact
Mm-hmm.
workouts because I wanted to get back into basketball shape
Okay.
this summer. I
Okay.
kind of think it affected my hip, and I
Okay.
think that's when it started damaging, and I had to stop.
Okay.
But when I do tend to come back, when I will come back, I want to incorporate more mobility because again, I'm driving so much.
Yeah.
I'm driving to and fro. I'm not using my legs. I'm not walking so much.
Yeah.
So flexibility is something that I'm increasing. I started yoga before I had the hip thing.
Okay.
Started doing yoga,
Okay.
and just I want to be right now at my age. The goal is to move.
I love that.
The goal is to move. I have an 18-year-old son,
Yep.
and he's fit. And I started him just like that. I started him at 13. That okay, here's the weights, but we're going to incorporate flexibility. We're going to incorporate mobility. This is why he's, he can move freely.
Yeah.
And he emphasizes stretching in his workouts.
Yeah.
And I think everybody should do that. It's not about just how much bench press you can do and how much, bicep curls you can do. It's not about that. And I don't train anybody like that. It's not about
living.
numbers. It's about living. It's about moving. It's about, okay, can I run from here to there, without getting tired? So, yeah, I'm emphasizing more on that at a greater depth when I'm done healing up.
I just love everything that you just said, and that you bring, and like, you're welcome. And when I hear these kinds of things, for me, it always just like, I just take a moment because it's so important. And I think that there's always a point in life that brings us to this point if we are open to taking it in.
Yes.
And the fact that you're doing it with your son, starting him now, and then just keep moving forward because it's life, the limitations that our body carries. And you have the Harrington rods, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so that the limitations that our bodies carry with that, makes us want to move as long as we don't hinder ourselves in our mind. And
Right.
you're already like ahead of the game because you're doing that with your son. So if you, I mean, if I'll say, what would you say to your son, you know, or somebody who you met who has scoliosis and they're, you know, 13 years old? What is something that you would say to that young person on
Well,
how to
don't be
live
a,
with it?
well, for one, don't be ashamed of it. It's not the end of the world.
Mhm.
We're normal, just like anybody else. We just have this little, crooked thing, and that's fine. But there's ways to strengthen yourself. There's ways to live through it, so you won't let this hinder you. No, it's not going to be like that. It's not going to be like this.
Right.
However, if you know the body mechanics, and if you know your body,
Mhm.
you know how to adjust, and you know how to work it to your advantage. It's not the end of the world. You do not have to not work out. You should work out, actually. Um, and again, it's all about movement. If you want to use weights, by all means, do it. I
Mhm.
know bodybuilder competitors who competed and they had scoliosis. Hello. Okay. They have scoliosis. Yeah,
Yeah.
your spine is crooked. Yes, I sometimes hate when I look at my chest, there's certain areas where my chest, if I didn't have it, it would be more fuller.
Okay.
My abs, and I have a six pack, but I know it would be more defined if this was down a little bit more.
If you were more
Um,
aligned.
you know, Look, I've learned as I got older, nobody's perfect. Nobody has the perfect body. Not even Schwarzenegger. Okay. Nobody has the perfect body. I
Yeah.
mean, there's always a strength and there's always a weakness.
Yeah.
Okay. You just gotta work through it, live through it, and just be validated for yourself, to love yourself. Again, and
Yeah.
I'm not ashamed of this scar. I show the scar.
I know, I
Some ladies
see it.
think, and some ladies think it's sexy. It's a turn on for them.
Yeah.
And being the fact that my back, and that's another thing, is my back is one of my greatest features
Mhm.
in my body. I have a big back.
Yes, you do.
Um, yes, I have a big back. I have traps. That's appealing to some
Yeah.
females.
Yeah.
And then you see the scar. The scar is like, oh my God.
He's a
It's an
warrior.
attraction.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's a warrior. That's what I call myself, a
Yeah.
warrior. So, I would tell the individual, and I had a client like this, don't be ashamed. The client became a trainer. And,
Awesome.
I told her, don't be ashamed. Use that to your advantage. Use that being you're a mom of two, you carry two children while you had that crooked spine.
Yeah.
Don't be ashamed.
Yeah.
Never be ashamed. So that's what I would tell them. I would tell my son, like I've told my son, mobility, mobility,
Mhm.
mobility.
Mhm.
Keep
Mhm.
moving. It's not
Mhm.
about numbers. It's not about how much you could squat. Girls do not care about that. It's not about how much you could squat, how much you could press. It's about, by the time you're my age, you're not walking and limping like I am.
You just keep moving.
Just keep moving. No matter
Yeah.
what you do, I don't care. Like, he loves boxing because I
Mhm.
teach boxing. He
Mhm.
loves boxing. I
Mhm.
don't care if that's your particular workout. As long as you're moving, as long as
Yeah.
you keep moving, you're not this big, stiff, muscle bound guy that can't even walk. You know, no, you got
Yeah.
to be able to move. I always said, if I'm wobbling, if I wobble when I walk, something is wrong. Something is wrong.
I wobble when I walk. I like that. I like that because
Yeah.
then it's like, okay, I'm not centered.
No,
I'm not
no,
centered.
you're
I'm
not
off kilter.
centered.
Yeah.
Right, you're looking like a penguin. You just walk in, and you're breathing hard, but you got all this muscle.
Yeah. And it's
You know,
also,
and
it's a metaphor. I mean, if you're not, you know,
center. That's right.
yeah, like just get in the moment.
I didn't realize. I don't know how it is with you,
Mhm.
but I didn't realize, like, with my hip and my foot, one foot is up here, the other
And
foot is
then
like
one turns
this.
out. Yeah.
One turns out.
Yeah.
So people don't realize how much nerves in the foot connects to your brain
Mhm.
and connects to your center of life.
Mhm.
That if you're walking a certain way, it's like you don't have much control.
Yeah.
But if you're centered, if you know from here to toe, and you centered in your life,
Yeah.
you could be able to catch yourself. Because sometimes my foot still does this. but I catch myself.
Yeah.
And you just walk.
It's being more acutely conscious of the way your body moves
Yes.
in all spaces, even with the feet.
Yes.
And it's coming from a dance background. So first position was normal, right? Second position is normal. And when I walk, I generally walk pretty straight, but one foot will internally rotate a little bit. But and I can straighten, like it's not something that I pay attention to for the most part, but I totally get what you're saying. And I've heard that with people time and time again. And it's really interesting because we just have to wake up.
Yeah.
Just wake up. But it's, there's a woman that I did a podcast with recently, Lou Faustin. She's a power lifter and bodybuilder with scoliosis.
Wow.
And she talked about some of the tricks that she would have to do in competitions to hide her curves, and she's not fused. So it's very interesting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But Damian, tell us, if somebody would like to find you on social media, where is the best place that they can talk to you?
I am on Facebook, Damain Bailey, and I am on Instagram, Damian Bailey Fitness. Real simple. I have about 4 pages, but that's my main page.
That's
my main page
one.
is Damian Bailey Fitness. And I have a YouTube channel called Damian Bailey Fitness. Simple.
I was gonna say, keep it simple. Keep it simple.
Keep it simple.
Is there anything else that you would like to share with the guests on the show for today?
Don't let anything stop you. Don't let anything stop you. Even what's going on right now. The one thing about the C that happened was it let everybody know that you're not in control like you think you are. Sometimes we get hit. Okay, we got hit. Now what you're going to do? Are you going to sit, ponder, freak out, be afraid, and not tap into your God-given potential? Or are you going to get back up and figure out, okay, what's my plan B, C, D, E? All it is, my brand got stronger during that time. I made my first fitness video during that time while everybody was quarantined, among other things.
Yeah.
Because I realized that, okay, we all got hit. I have to do something to push that extra rep, that extra set, so we can keep going forward. So that by the time when things are back to normal, I'm already here. I'm already blossomed. Now you just maintain. You get stronger and stronger.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you.
I think whether you have scoliosis or not, and if you've just been diagnosed with scoliosis, do your research. It's not the end of the world. It doesn't mean death. It doesn't mean that you have to be confined to a wheelchair. No, that does not have to be your future. You have the control to make your future. You have the control to make your own chapters in your book of life.
Yeah.
So you keep going. You figure out, okay, if I'm walking like this, then I need to stand up straight and walk this way. If I'm sitting like this, internally rotated, then I need to learn how to sit with this posture. All of that matters. And then you just keep developing yourself. Invest in yourself. That's what I would like to tell people, is to invest in you.
Because at the end of the day,
we tend to worry about everybody else and what everybody else is doing because we're nosy. And then we neglect. We neglect the house, which is us.
Right.
So if you're walking crooked, look, sometimes I'll walk crooked.
Yeah.
I'll catch myself.
Yeah.
All you need to do, shift.
Yeah.
Shift and just keep going.
It's often, they say this with people who are moms, we need to take care of ourselves first.
Thank you.
And then we can take care of everybody else. And it's the same as what you're saying. Take care of this soul, these muscles that we have, this body that we are born into, and then help everybody else along the way.
Yes, because our kids, we're our best. I don't know if you have kids. Do you have kids?
I have a 17-year-old.
Okay, so I don't know if it's a boy or girl. Boy or girl?
Girl, and she has scoliosis.
Oh, wow, really? Wow. Do you know you're the best? Do you know you're the best woman she knows?
I know. I did When she was diagnosed, she was 13, found the
Wow.
curves were found by accident. And I said to
Wow.
the doctor, I said, you know about this? I said, what do you know about scoliosis? He's like, well, you need to talk to your doctor. I was like, well, let me tell you, I know about scoliosis. And then they did, because of me, she was recommended to do Schroth therapy, which is PT specifically for people with scoliosis. And they said like 3 to 4 days a week for 12 weeks, and insurance wouldn't cover that. So then it was 2 days a week. And then I told the therapist, I said, I want photocopies of every single exercise. And I want you to record me doing it, cueing me with my phone. And then I did it with her for 7 days a week for 2 years.
Wow.
And she wore a brace.
Wow.
Yeah.
How is she now?
She's fine. Her curves went down.
Wow. Wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
But
So
you
I
get it
know.
now? Yeah.
I know. I totally get it. I totally get
Now,
it.
if you would have been all depressed and all sad and crying and whatnot, then she would have been all high anxiety.
But I was.
Wow.
And then it switched. Because I had to process it from my own story.
Yes.
Which is very different. My story is very different. So I had to take that and then transfer it and say, you're not me.
Right.
And I'm not my parents. And we're going to change the story.
That's it.
And we did. So,
beautiful.
Yeah.
And that's all you need to do. People need to realize they could change the story if they want to.
Right. That's the bottom line.
And that's how you conquer. That's how you conquer.
That's how you conquer.
Inspire. That's how you conquer and inspire. Look, I'm going through it right now. I'm sitting here, and the doctor says I can't work out. It's bumming the heck out of me.
Yeah.
I've been going through physical therapy. I'm getting better and better.
Mm-hmm.
He did say by the end of this week he'll know if I could work out again and so forth.
Okay.
But I look at my brother. My brother has the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
and he's kicking and doing all this stuff. But at the same time, I'm not sitting here depressed. I'm working. I'm still training clients on Zoom,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm taking my walks. I'm taking control at the
With
same
what
time.
you have. With what you have.
Exactly.
That's the life lesson in all of this. To take back control of what we have versus what we don't have, because we can always look at what we don't have.
Right.
And then we can like dive into that hole and say, I don't have this, I don't have this, I don't have this, I don't have this. But then what do you have?
Right.
Even just
so you have the
surgery.
rod?
I have rods. Yeah. I had the surgery in 82, 83.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah. In New York City.
But I heard now that has to be like the last option.
Yeah.
For somebody, because now they do what they did with your daughter, and they recommend PT, and they recommend other stuff. So whereas in our day, they were just like, oh, curve, you got to do it.
Yep, it's true. And tell us again, if anybody wants to reach out to you, where's the best place they can find you?
YouTube, Damian Bailey Fitness. Instagram, Damian Bailey Fitness. Facebook, Damian Bailey.
All right. And if anybody has any questions, I know Damian through Instagram. Please feel free to reach out to him. Damian, I want to thank you for sharing your story. And I personally did not know about that you have a twin, and that he also has scoliosis. And I find that very interesting. And thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you.
And thanks for being a guest on the show.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. You guys have a blessed day. Conquer and inspire.